This is about a video on the internet concerning a man building a cabin. I saw a video on the internet that impressed me. It was entitled, "Man Builds Off-Grid Cabin Alone in the Canadian Wilderness." The guy's channel is called My Self-Reliance, which fits. This is an instance when the title says it all. Man builds off-grid cabin alone Canadian wilderness. But the comprehensive title doesn't begin to suggest the magnitude of the endeavor. It is a cabin, a log cabin. It isn't a big cabin. I would estimate, poorly no doubt, that it is about 12 feet wide, 20 feet long, and maybe 15 feet to the top ridge of the roof. So it isn't the size of the building that's impressive. The man made many videos, all centered on life in and around this cabin. They're mostly silent. He works at making something or goes ice fishing, and at the end he tells for a while, musing about self-reliance or the use of natural resources. One of his videos, it's a little longer than an hour, is a highly edited, time-lapse narrative of building the cabin, showing him doing it from April to December, and also how he did it. He makes a point of saying that he is nothing special. He learned how to do it by doing it, along with some research, reading books. He has a great deal of know-how. I think he might be an engineer. He knows how to make things, and he knows how to assemble, compose, construct. It's very satisfying to watch him at work. He uses hand tools only, axes, saws, hammer, knives, chisels, shovels, ladders, brace and bit, like that. His tools are sharp, very sharp, and he knows how to use them. Construction begins with him cutting down some trees, stripping off the bark, sawing them to length, notching them exactly so they'll fit snugly into place, then carrying the logs to the construction site. I guess that he used about 100 trees, and he does this log after log after log until the outer walls of the cabin are intact. He puts on the roof, held up by cleverly carved posts and beams. He used milled lumber for the roof, and onto this he nailed lumber he had burned, a process that would ensure it an extended lifetime, despite being exposed directly to the elements. To do this he lashed 3 pieces of long lumber together in a triangle, stuffed dry leaves and moss inside, stood this up on end in the coals of a hot fire. The stuffing set ablaze, he let it burn, and then cut the boards apart and stopped the fire, leaving them charred. He did this for every board on the roof. Then he cut out spaces for windows and the door, and he framed them in. Then he moved inside, framed up the floor and a storage locker, a ladder and a loft, installed the stove and chimney, took ashes from under the stove and put them in a wheelbarrow, along with shovels of dirt and moss, water, and he made a kind of cement to seal the chinks between the logs. This man is ingenious, hard-working, and capable of putting many small, meticulous tasks together to create something wonderful, his cabin. Of course, it's more than a cabin, or it never would have been built. The cabin is more than his castle. It's a retreat, a little monastery. It's his life work, the very expression of himself, his self-reliance. Thoreau stayed for a year. This man is in for the duration. He's clear about the compromises he had to make so he could get this done. Some so he can include his wife. But what he's done, who he is, that's inspiring, and he did it very deliberately, alone. His way was the opposite of collaboration. I remember going to Washington Island years ago off Wisconsin. There was a chapel made of wood, a little chapel, beautifully made, so well done that it communicated a spiritual feeling, as many churches do not. And high on the wall over the entrance there was hanging a carpenter's tool belt in silent testament to a job done, a job well done. The cabin man's work goes on, adding to his outpost, tinkering with it, making improvements, but in a way he has also done. He set out to be self-reliant, to explore what that means, and I think he's done it.